This week in music, our main headlines are we're getting the shocking news of a departing drummer from, like I said, one of the biggest bands in the world. As I Lay Dying is testing band members' morals? ? And still another band has had to cancel the remainder of their tour with Mushroomhead. And we have quite a bit more in music, so let's talk about this. Welcome, nerds, to this week's edition of the Music News. This is just a section, one section of six, count them, six other sections that we do over on the main channel in a show I like to call Week in Nerddom, where we talk about all of the nerdy things. You can find a link to that show down in the description or at the end of this video. Now let's talk about new music, touring information, and other generally interesting things to do with the music news. You thought I was going to say generally nerdy, didn't you? All right, nerds, so we do have follow-ups and corrections. Technically have two follow-ups. The first one is more of a meta follow-up for the music section in general, and that is last week's proper episode. The audio for this section was not edited correctly, and I apologize that I didn't catch it. It's just a step that I apparently skipped because, you know, sometimes I have long days and it's no excuse. I should have caught it. It's actually a super easy fix. So the fact that I didn't catch it is just testament to the fact that we're getting to the end of the season and I'm starting to get to that point. So my apologies. The corrected audio is over on the Clips channel. If you watch this exclusively on the main channel, then I thank you very much. However, in order for you to get the full new music section from last week, you must go over to the Clips section where I fixed the audio. So I'm gonna eat a little crow on this one. I'm so sorry. Hopefully this week is better. I am still in the present. I'm not yet in the future, so I do not know if I have forgot to correct the audio again. So please, again, just let me know in the comment section like last week, and I will do what I can to get it fixed. If it is quick enough, I should be able to re-up the main episode, but by the time I was made aware of the audio issue, it was a few days deep and we were already into our view count, so that will screw up the algorithm as far as the channel is concerned. So I just had to fix it for the Clips channel. So again, the music section, specifically the new music subsection, the audio is corrected over on the Clips channel if you missed out on that last week. And now our actual follow-up, the one that we have for this episode, it's actually kind of a big one. We touched on it last week as well. It was not part of the new music section, so the audio was just fine. It has to do with As I Lay Dying. So when I went to record last week, there was only one member of the band that had quit. Now it would seem there's only one member of the band that hasn't quit, not counting Tim Lambesis. So let's get into that. So yes, the entire band and one of their managers. I don't remember because I didn't put in the notes because I literally saw it like right as I was printing my notes off for today's episode. But it was someone who is part of the management team for the band has also quit. There still is no precise reason given to why all of these people have quit the organization of As I Lay Dying. Ken Suzy, one of my favorite metalcore guitar players who was in Unearth and is now also formerly in As I Lay Dying, kind of got the closest to saying something in that it was a challenge for his morals. I'm very much paraphrasing here. There was something that challenged his morals and it seems really weird. And then we get this rumor apparently that Tim Lambesis, lead vocalist for As I Lay Dying, the one who was sent to prison years ago for trying to do very unsavory things to his then wife. We get these rumors saying that he is now being physically abusive to his current wife, Dani. And then Dani Lambesis came out herself and said, actually, no, that's unfounded rumor, and borderline liable. So we still don't know exactly what it is that's driving everyone away from Lambesis. Like I said, there is one member of the band that is still there, at least for the moment, and that's Phil Sgrosso. Phil has been playing guitar for the band for some time. He's the only one who's been around since the reunion as well. He was pre-dissolution or dissolved band, and then also post-dissolved band. But he also has released a statement saying that he will make a proper statement about a statement. He will make a proper statement about where he stands going forward in the near future. No specifics have been given there, even as to when the near future is, or might be. So it looks like we've got at least one more follow-up on this story. Hopefully it happens soon, because we're getting to the end of the season, but we can cover it in the live shows. Anyway, that's where we're at with As I... Oh no, that's not all that we have. There is one other follow-up for As I Lay Dying. Amidst all of this, we have yet another weird occurrence with the band, and that is, speaking of the reunion album titled Shaped by Fire has been removed from all streaming services. This one, the band has come out and made a proper statement about the situation. They have said through publicity and such that the reason that the record has been removed from streaming services is because they had a distribution deal, and that distribution deal has concluded its natural conclusion. And so once all of the dust has settled from basically everything else that's going on right now, then that should find its way back up onto streaming platforms. However, as of right now, it has yet to find its way up there. So it very well could be a decent amount of time between now and then. But as it stands right now, that is where we are. We will have, again, at least one more follow-up on this situation when we hear from Phil Sgrosso. Very likely we'll have two follow-ups, that one and then what the hell's going on with their reunion record. And hopefully we'll get a little bit more clarity on the overall whatever the hell's going on with As I Lay Dying between now and then as well. Who knows? Let's just move on. So that's what we have for follow-ups and corrections. Let's jump into new music. We have a really interesting kind of range this week for new music. We're starting things off with Tom Green. Yes, the old comedian from the 90s and 2000s, that Tom Green, the Tom Green Show, who did the Bum Bum song, that guy. He's like doing serious music these days. The name of this song is Get Her Done Tonight. I say serious, it is still kind of light-hearted, I guess is probably a good way to put it. So it's not like this is a country song. The last track he released was like a freestyle rap that was legitimately impressive as well. So the fact that he can do this stuff just on a whim is really kind of interesting. But like, I don't know what else to say besides like, how is this guy just so damn good at being entertaining, and why did he take this long to get to this quality of entertainment? It seems like he's had this in him for a while, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. I just didn't really appreciate the gross out humor when the Tom Green Show was a thing. So yeah, Tom Green, Get Her Done Tonight. Absolutely a recommend, even if you're not much of a country person. Like, this is just a thoroughly entertaining like person, so indulge him in his artistry, I guess. From there, speaking of indulging people in their artistry, Vera Farmiga. You will recognize that name, not the band that she's in. The Yaga is the name of the band, but Vera Farmiga, if you don't remember, she's an actress. She's been in a lot of things. Specifically, she's in the Conjuring franchise. She was Norman's mother in the Bates Motel series. She's done a number of fairly nerdy things. So she is in a metal band. Metal kind of loose in this instance as far as genre categorizations, but metal adjacent at the very least. The Yagas, the name of the track that they just released with her on vocals, is called The Crying Room. It's very, very atmospheric, and also it takes a minute to get to the part where it feels like it might be an actual metal band. Previously, she's done, like, very publicly, she's done covers of Slipknot songs and stuff like that, so she's got it in her. but this is something else. I'm not going to say this is bad, and I'm not going to set your expectations to dislike this, because it's really cool in its atmosphericness, and also like it's this kind of borderline. It's not pop, it's a borderline like trip hop almost, mixed with like hard rock metal. But even saying hard rock, I feel like, is a little bit of a misnomer until you get to that third verse, I think it might be. But yeah, very interesting. Definitely check this one out, even if for an anthropological reason, just to see what the hell this is, and what certain people around about Hollywood consider metal, and then that's a thing that happens. So yeah, Vera Farmiga's band, the Yagas, The Crying Room. What do you think? Let's just talk about this one. Moving on from there, though, we have a band that I've honestly kind of wanted to talk about in the new music section for a little while, because I found them after they released. I can't remember if it was their last single, but it was a little ways after the single had already been out, or if it was just their last record. I can't remember exactly the time frame, but been kind of on the outskirts of my radar for some time. That band is a band called Filth. The name of the new track is OPP Stoppers, and this I feel like is a sound that is worthy of the quote-unquote modern nu metal label. Because this is legitimately this is very rhythmic in its instrumentation, but also the modern element kind of gives it a little bit more of a core vibe. I know I'm using a lot of silly air quotes, but it's the subgenre nonsense that really makes you feel like it doesn't exactly fit. You can't pigeonhole it there, and you just gotta listen. This is a crazy entertaining stuff. You have a vocalist who knows what the hell he's doing as far as lyricism. He's for a lack of a better term, spitting bars. He has this really cool flow, and then he also has the ability to jump into that very aggressive metal vocal, borderline like deathcore style vocal, on top of his ability to rap and just write these crazy rhymes. So yeah, definitely digging this. Really getting into this groove. The name of the band again is Filth. The name of the track is OPP Stoppers, and it is absolutely worth your time, so go check it out. Next up, we have Venomoris. This is a band that some of you probably know. The name of the track that they just released off of their forthcoming second record is Spiderweb. The reason a lot of people watching this will probably know at least kind of sort of know the name of this band is because Dave Lombardo is kind of the heart and soul of this. It's he and his wife together, his wife Paula, doing this trip hop project. Like, there is no other way to put this. The mix on the drums for this, considering that is basically the genre that this falls into, the mix of the drums on here feels a little off. Like, the drum playing is fine considering the genre, but the sound of the tone coming from those drums feels like it belongs more on like an indie record. Feels like it might even belong a little bit more on like a black metal record, just because it's so reverb heavy, and that kind of takes you out of the moment a little bit, at least towards the beginning of the track. You get used to it after a while, and then you really get into it. But if you're a trip hop listener, then this is really good. This is like, wow, who knew that the dude who played drums in Slayer could do something this kind of kickback? And it's not, I mean, it's, as far as trip hop stuff goes, it's not exactly the most mellow, but it's still like, obviously that's kind of the atmosphere that they're trying to hold. So yeah, this is a recommend. Spiderweb, Venomoris. I really want to go check out their first record now, because I didn't know it existed until doing research for this episode. So go check out the track Spiderweb. Let's move on. Our next piece of new music actually is a twofer. Avenged Sevenfold, you probably know that band name. Avenged Sevenfold has released 2 new cover tracks, both of them Misfits covers, so it goes along with, they previously, I think last year for Halloween, they also released a Misfits cover, but this time it is the most noteworthy of the quote-unquote Halloween Misfits tracks, and that is the song Halloween and also the song Skulls. So we're gonna take those in that order. Halloween first is the one, the most recent release of the two, because they were a couple of days apart. So Halloween is one of the most famous punk rock songs ever. I seriously doubt you could run into somebody, they might not know who the Misfits are, but they probably know that Halloween song. At the very least, they know the refrain, Halloween, Halloween. Like, that's just, like, that's a thing in the pop culture consciousness. And Avenged Sevenfold decided they wanted to do an acoustic version that sounded nothing like the original. Not to say that it's bad, it's just jarring in how it's so different. It's not even so different from the original that makes it so jarring, but it's so different from what you would expect out of Avenged Sevenfold even. So like, it's good, but like, whoa, is it definitely come with a couple of cautions before you listen to it. So check out Halloween for sure, but the better of these two tracks is Skulls by far. This instrumentally sounds a little bit more like something Avenged Sevenfold sounds like doing a punk rock cover. That makes sense sonically. And then Shadow's voice, while it sounds like they're both the same recording sessions, somehow works better on here. This is not Matt doing like his regular vocal approach. This is Matt doing like an interesting interpretation of a Danzig impression. So it doesn't work very well on the Halloween track, but really does work on the Skulls track. And it at times it's like, okay, he is trying to do a Danzig thing, but at other times it's like he's trying to set this apart as something not even a Sevenfold song vocally. So it's really, really interesting. Very much gets you into the mood for the season, and that's kind of, I think, the idea behind it. So check out the Skulls one, absolutely. Check out the Halloween one, cautiously. Let's move on from there. We have a new track from The Halo Effect. We've talked about these guys a couple of times previously. They have a new record coming out. The name of this new track, though, is March of the Unheard. Remember, these guys are all former, well, mostly anyway, former In Flames band members. And they've come together in Sweden to make more heavy music and be also awesome. Maybe not as awesome as In Flames, but pretty awesome. This track, though, I don't know if this is the best example of their sound. Instrumentally, it sounds like some butt rock, some octane core. Vocally, it sounds like a completely different thing. It sounds like it's borderline death metal if you're going vocals, because I don't think there's a single melodic line in this song, and not anything that comes to mind anyway, and I kind of just listened to it. So it's very interesting. This is one that I don't know. I mean, if you're a fan of the band, you're probably going to dig it, because fan of the band means you dig most things they do. And this is close to being in line with previous things they've done. However, if you're just a fan of heavy music, I feel like this is going to make you not know what the hell you're listening to, because like I said, instrumentally it's not that heavy. Vocally it's very heavy, but instrumentally it really sounds like it could be something that you just get on terrestrial rock radio. Like, this isn't really that anything that sets it apart. So very interesting situation. I don't know, this is it's a mild to not even barely recommend. Really, if you're a fan of the band, this is the only people that this is for. If you're not a fan of the band already, you're probably not going to dig this. So moving on to our final piece of new music for the week, we have the new Linkin Park track has just dropped. The name of the track is Over Each Other. So I have slowly been coming to the conclusion, because I've been, for whatever reason, listening to a little bit more Linkin Park, be it at work because people are just playing Linkin Park at work, or if I'm doing research for the show or what have you, like just kind of listened to a little bit more Linkin Park over the course of the last couple months since they announced their new album and new tour and stuff. They've been a little bit more on my radar, and so this is kind of a conclusion I've been coming to for a little bit of time, and this song, I think, cements it. So once again, the name of the track is Over Each Other, and this is prime example of Linkin Park is the band that writes teenage angsty music. That's the conclusion I've been getting. Like this, there's really not much depth to what they do by and large, outside of I'm young and I have this song specifically is about being in a bad relationship. They have other ones where it kind of sounds like, you know, it kind of sounds like you're talking to your parents and you just don't agree with your parents. And they have other songs where it's like, my friends don't get me and I'm just alone. So it's that kind of stuff, and it's continuing on with this new vocalist. Not to say that they're bad songwriters at all. This is absolutely something that's going to get stuck in your head. This is absolutely something that's going to get a ton of radio play. I feel like I'm losing interest in Linkin Park. I'll always really dig the first two records actually. The Minutes to Midnight is also a really good record. But just lyrically, I feel like I've very much gone a very far distance away from where they are lyrically. And they're still there lyrically, it would seem. So yeah, if you like Linkin Park, if you like catchy music, this is for you, but that's probably going to be about it. That is everything we have for the new music section. Let's now jump over to the tours and festivals. We have just got the announcement for When We Were Young 2025, so next year's When We Were Young concert will be October 18th of 2025, and this one is in Las Vegas. Interesting note before we get into some of the artists that are going to be at the show. Interesting note, you can purchase VIP cabana tickets. So you get your own shaded area. You get a cabana, a VIP cabana. You can start paying for them on a layaway plan now. It's a year away. It's kind of brilliant marketing, but that's a weird sign of the times that we're in right now as far as live music is concerned. That a festival like this, while it is an all-day festival, it is just one day this year. I feel like previous years it's been 2 days. Am I wrong? But it is just one day this year. And you have to put $20 down, and it's a layaway situation, so you're paying monthly on your concert tickets. Like, there's something, like there's a disconnect somewhere in the industry that we're laying away concert tickets. Sure, it's for VIP access and a cabana, but like it's still at the base of it all concert tickets. So you're putting layaway down on. Okay, so of note on this bill is some of the bigger names. There's also, we'll get to that. Some of the bigger names. We have Panic at the Disco, Blink-182, Weezer, The Offspring, just kind of more of the same of the style of bands that have been on the bills for the last few years. Hence the When We Were Young title of the festival, right? Because it's capitalizing on the nostalgia stuff. And then you get a little bit further down on the list of bands and you see Kublai Khan, and you see, what was the other one that I used as an example? Kublai Khan and The Plot in You. These are bands that are from the last like 3 to 5 years. How does this quantify as When We Were Young? Like Motionless in White, even for me, because I'm old, they feel like a new band. So like, having somebody within that is even not even halfway through the last decade away from when they became, part of the pop culture conversation is very odd. Like, why is this? I guess it goes to show that the nostalgia bait stuff only goes so far, and then you got to start booking just regular bands. So I don't know. But either way, it sounds like a pretty cool bill. Eventually, I feel like I'm going to see one of these When We Were Young shows, but I don't know. It's probably going to be a couple years, not going to lie. You can find a link down in the description. We'll take you to the pre-order and all of the information that you need. Go follow the link down in the description. Next tour on the list is Killswitch Engage has just announced their 2025 tour with support from none other than Kublai Khan. Kublai Khan, Fit for a King, and Frozen Soul, to be more specific. This tour starts March 5th in Nashville, Tennessee, runs through April 12th in Portland, Maine. I have my state abbreviation incorrect on here. But Portland, Maine. Pre-sales start Wednesday the 30th. So today, hopefully, as you're watching this, because I do have things going on tonight that are going to affect the episode, but we'll get to that in the housekeeping section. So yeah, pre-sales go on Wednesday the 30th, and then the actual ticket sales go out on Halloween Day, I believe. Speaking of Halloween Day ticket sales, we have Alice Cooper has announced another leg for his Too Close for Comfort tour. January 31st in Augusta, Georgia, running through February 11th in St. Augustine, Florida. This seems to be the announcement of the southern United States leg because it's basically those two states. I think there's like a Tennessee date in there, but still the South. So, and it's only like 8 dates from January 31st to February 11th. So go check out, again, link in the description. Those tickets go on sale on the 31st as well. That is what we have for tours and festivals. Let's get into some regular ass news. I've been itching to get to this point already. Primus is losing their drummer once again. Tim Alexander has quit the band for the third time. Yes, that is right. The third time. The first time he quit was in 1996. The second time he quit was in 2010. And now, again, the third time he has quit was about 2 weeks ago, actually. The band took 2 weeks to make the announcement public. He notified them via email on the 17th of October. And so now they're telling everybody, hey, by the way, we're not canceling any of our dates. We're just going to be minus Tim, so there's going to be somebody else playing on stage with us. And they've specifically called out that they're going to be using members from, I just lost my notes, from the bands Holy Mackerel and the Frog Brigade. Both, I'm pretty sure both of those are Les Claypool projects. So very interesting. And the reason for Alexander leaving, the reason why Tim Alexander just isn't playing with Primus anymore is because he doesn't feel passionate about making music right now. Which is his prerogative, I guess. I don't know. It just feels like a weird... I think he's used that excuse previously as well, so it just strikes me as odd. But then you got the likes of Brain playing with Primus back in the day when he quit. I believe in 2010 is when Brain... Correct me if I'm wrong. It might have been at the 96 breakup. Either way. Yeah, so Primus... sans drummer. Very strange. Moving on. Our other piece of news has to do with the band Upon a Burning Body. These guys are currently, well, they were rather currently on tour with Mushroomhead and have had to pull out, cancel even, the rest of their responsibilities on this tour with Mushroomhead. When I first heard this, I was like, oh, what did Skinny do now? Actually has nothing to do with Mushroomhead, so kudos to the guys in Mushroomhead for not being total jerks. But yeah, so what's going on is Upon a Burning Body, their guitar player had apparently a very large family emergency, because not only are they canceling their supporting dates with Mushroomhead, they had a solo headlining date in Kentucky on the 27th that they also had to cancel. They have not officially said it on their social medias. So the notice that you're seeing on the screen right now, assuming you're watching the show and not just listening, is from their Instagram. They have not said it on their social media, but they did say it at the concert that they had to cut short when the emergency happened. They come out on stage and said, unfortunately, our guitar player has had a family emergency and we need to do everything in our power to get him to the people who need him most, that he loves and is related to. And so we are going to have to not be playing tonight. That was, you can see that on other people's social media. I'm not going to link to the video necessarily because they have also asked for their privacy. So you can see that. That is what we have for regular ass news this week, though. So let's get into our suggestion for the week. Music suggestion this week is The Misfits, Legacy of Brutality. This is the record that gave us the Halloween song. It's one of the all-time classic punk rock records. It is not the most well-known Misfits record by any... I mean, there's a couple, I think, that would qualify as bigger. But again, it is the record that gave us Halloween. So that is your recommendation this week. Notable tracks on the album, we have Halloween, American Nightmare, Some Kind of Hate, and Who Killed Marilyn are a couple of my favorites. So go check it out. Misfits, Legacy of Brutality. That brings us to the end of the video, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for the news. Once again, there is a full and probably much more up-to-date and recent episode of the news, the full-length version, if you will, called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, linked down in the description, and probably link popping up somewhere around my face right about now. So click on that, go check that out as well, or if you prefer your news in more truncated pieces, then by all means just stick around here and go check out some of the other stuff we offer on this channel. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember, nerds, that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.